Hello and welcome once again to another exciting episode of The Source. Today we have a very special guest. Special guest, tell us, who are you and what do you do?
All right. Well, I will assume that I am the special guest in this instance, Jim. So I will come out and I'll say, howdy, everybody. My name is Mike Sunderland. I am the global lead for talent intelligence at Hudson RPO. And I'm really excited to talk about all things data, data strategy, and specifically in the world of diversity sourcing and recruiting. It's going to be a very United States focused presentation, but we're really going to walk through how to use data to, just create a really ironclad, world class, excellent strategy for how you bring in diverse individuals into your organization. And then we're also going to talk a lot about how you then execute that strategy. Jim, if I understand correctly, I believe my talk is on the SourceCon track, so we're not going to leave without talking about a lot of sourcing tips specifically. And I'm going to start just rambling on here, Jim, about it, but
No, go ahead.
my talk is twofold for a very specific reason, because I see clients and just organizations struggle with both of these sides. Maybe they're really good at how they reach out to communities or things like that, but their strategy candidly lacks a lot of kind of data behind it of what specific goals they have and things like that. Or maybe they know what their weaknesses are really well, but they don't actually really know how to inject certain things into their Boolean strings or to come up with the actual execution of this. So I'm going to talk about just, again, how to actually take your strategy from, yeah, we know we need more diversity, to, okay, here's how you can actually pull the workforce data, the occupation data, all the different types of things to understand where you do business, what your communities look like, get that perfect really target, and then how to actually execute on the recruiting side that target. So really excited about it. It's going to be very fast paced because we had a lot to cover in my 45 minutes I think we're going to be doing here. But obviously, as you can see, very excited to really get down to brass tacks on it.
And we're glad to see it. It sounds like your talk is a mix of strategy and tactics. Would you say that?
Yeah, ideally I get one talk of each, but they won't let me talk forever. So I'm going to really kind of, I would actually phrase it in three chunks. I really do want to, the first third of this is really going to break down, a lot of kind of demystifying and, first of all, just understanding what we even mean by diversity recruiting, right? I hate to say it's got a black eye right now, but the reality is, we're in a land and a world and a landscape like we just haven't been in before in America, right? We saw all these organizations invest so heavily in all these initiatives and everything, and then this past year, especially in the past few weeks and months, obviously we've started to see a trend in the other way. So I will break down a little bit of just all the kind of rules and regulations that I'm going to go as far as even talking about some Supreme Court decisions over the past decades that
Okay.
really I think should be impacting how we come up with these strategies, and then talk about how you come up with that strategy for your organization, and then the actual execution piece. So I guess one thing I would say is that if you work for a super duper enterprise company where they have all the bells and whistles, the first two-thirds of this talk probably are going to be things that you're familiar with. But if you have, the other way I would phrase this too, Jim, is that I just think so many people just misunderstand the fundamental ideas behind. And again, I'm not even talking about D, E, and I. I'm just talking about D here, right? I'm just talking about the
Mhm.
idea of making sure that our organizations have people that represent the communities that they work in. I think a lot of people just fundamentally misunderstand how to either do that strategy or execute it. So really a big part that I want to walk away with is that I really want the audience to walk away with holy crap, I kind of get this now. I didn't really understand how, how do we not hire based on race, religion, gender, and all this stuff, but still promote diversity hiring. There's all these ways that you can structure this to be compliant, legal, and make your organization just the best it can be, right? So the core thought of all of this, and I'll end my rant here, is that, in my opinion, and I'm going to say this multiple times in my talk, diversity really is a sourcing initiative at the end of the day, in my opinion, right? You have the D, you have the E and the I, and the E and the I don't never mean to suggest you can't have an equitable hiring process or an inclusive
Sure.
hiring process, but a lot of that E and the I is the HR, right? And the HR job, once you bring people into your organization, but the diversity of the people in your organization, that's recruiting. That's us, right? We're out there finding these people, filling kind of any gaps that we have in the organization. So to me, that's the most appropriate thing for talent acquisition to be thinking of and talking about. Again, everyone has an opinion in this space, right, of what makes sense and how to do it. But we're going to focus on the D, Jim, and we're going to figure out how to make this the best organization we can as talent, as recruiters who are bringing in diverse people into our organization. So very exciting.
Well, your passion is definitely shining through.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's gonna be a bop, as the kids would say, Jim, I think. So I'm very excited to break this all down.
Very cool. If somebody wanted to reach out and connect with you prior to the event, or maybe after the event, depending on when they watch this video, how can they
Yeah,
find you online?
yeah. So before you even try online, you can always knock on my front door. I live in Tampa, Florida. Use all your OSINT methodologies. Just come by, say hi sometime. The other thing you could do is again, that name was Mike Sunderland. If you just Google Michael Sunderland, you'll find me on LinkedIn, all the easy stuff. Um, yeah, LinkedIn, shoot me a message. We can connect on LinkedIn. I'll talk to anybody for 30 minutes. So if you have a question about anything I've said already, or you can't see my talk and want to get the cliff notes, always happy to jump in and talk about this.
Very cool. Thank you so much for your time on The Source.
All right. See you in Las Vegas.
Vegas!
Oh, it's going to be good.